the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Chris Yee.
So, it's been a while since I've done these, but I'd like to go back and take a look at years gone by. 20 years ago, which was 1984.
Yes. Look, I've advanced, Tom. I think that the 90s was 20 years ago, okay?
I know, but for me, like, the 80s was perpetually 20 years ago.
It really
Also
is.
10 years ago. Like, I'm just, the 2000s, my mind stopped counting at, like, 05. It really did. I'm like, it's like the 2000s, right?
We were all young in 2004, that's for sure. I was 27. I'm still a Ute.
I was 15, I guess. I'm 12 years younger than you. I learned that
What are
we're
we
both
talking about when? In 2004?
2004. Yeah.
I was old.
15, 16.
I know how old.
I remember in 2004, like thinking back to it, I had no concept of what a reboot was because Batman Begins and Casino Royale had not come out yet. So there was no such thing in my mind as a movie reboot. It was just more Bond movies, more Batman movies.
Well, to make this list more interesting, we're talking about games, I will have interesting facts from 2004 for you.
Yes.
Let me not spoil anything.
Half my
here.
games are reboots.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so what famous person
Yes.
went to prison in 2004? And this was a person that you would never have expected to go to prison. They're
Martha
not.
Stewart.
Stewart.
That is correct.
The pictures where you see like Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg together and be like, one of these two people is a felon.
That's right. That was in 2004 that she went to prison?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a lot. Wow. I'm going to come out of this list worse than I went in. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Now, I will say this.
Oh.
For board games, 2004 was a fantastic year.
Yes.
It really was. In fact, there's a good chance some of the games in this list you'll see 20th anniversary editions for it because they're worthy of that, although that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Like, the 20th anniversary edition of this is a game you never heard of. You're like, oh.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get started.
This is going to be depressing, and I hate it.
I don't know why it's depressing.
No more facts unless they're about how things are much better now.
Okay, let's get started.
So I was not playing hobby board games 20 years ago, right? So these are all games that I've kind of retroactively played since then. I would say I probably got into hobby gaming around 2011. So, yeah, there's like, how many years is that before I started playing hobby games?
7.
Thank you, Mr. Math. Yeah, so I mean, 7 years is interesting. I wonder how much crossover we're going to have and stuff because I assume I've played more so the cream of the crop that has kind of risen to the top, right?
Cream of the crop, risen to the top.
We can't stop.
There we go. All right, so my number 10 is a Reiner Knizia game.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Chris,
This isn't Mike over here. What are you talking about?
my
I'm sitting in
goodness.
this chair. You're just used to directing.
So predictable.
Hang on, I'm looking to see if I have a Knizia game on my list.
Come on. Knizia was not like, is not
don't
a
think so?
deity.
No?
I don't
Okay.
think so, but it might
I'm
be
just
wrong.
saying, Knizia is whatever. Knizia.
Well, what's the game?
This was his slope period, right? This is Ingenious.
No, Ingenious did not make my list.
Oh, okay.
I like Ingenious a lot. There's a lot of great games that did not make my list.
Right. So this one is a domino-esque game where there's two hexagons kind of glued to each other, and then you place them out on the board, and you want to...
I think it's a single piece, Chris, but yes.
No, they glue them at the factory
Yeah.
by hand.
So I'm just giving the people a nice visualization, right?
Got it.
Anyways, you're laying out these little dual hex tiles out on this board, and you're trying to make different groupings of the different colors because you want to move score tracks up of those different colors. And it's one of those Knizia-esque lowest score amongst all of your things that you've moved up is the thing that kind of wins. He was stuck on this idea for a
He
while.
only did 2 games with this, I
No,
think.
no, 100%.
What else is there?
I don't know, Samurai.
Tigers from
Samurai.
Euphrates?
That's
Tigers
the
and
other one, yeah.
Euphrates.
Wait, what's the square version of this game?
Get out of here. That doesn't count. Axio? He wasn't even there when they made that game. He was on vacation when they
That
made
was
that game.
that was Knizia GPT.
Yeah. I guess Samurai is a little like that, but it's like it is seen as a super Knizia thing, but he really didn't do that many that do that. Just
Right.
nobody else has really done it, I guess.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, anyway, Knizia is very much a hack, and I refuse to put any of his games on my list. My number 10 is a Knizia game that came out in 2004. It's one of the lesser-known Knizias. It is a card management game, hand management game, called Marco Polo Expedition.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I like Marco Polo Expedition. It's...
Luciani killed Knizia. There's blood to this day.
What's
The
that?
Voyages of Marco Polo. Everyone says Marco Polo.
Well,
If you
yeah,
say it,
that's
people think
true.
of that game.
Yeah, I have
thinking of
to
this
say
one.
Expedition here, yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting game. It's a hand management game, like I said. You have a track, a one-way track. You don't choose to move on it. You have to play cards to move on it. But the interesting thing is you're going to be drawing cards and collecting cards. If you jump on one of these places that has a little treasure chest, and these were great little plastic treasure chests. I don't know if you ever saw these in
I
person.
did. I was impressed by how
so
this game
cool, yeah.
looked.
If you jump on there first, you'll get some goodies and just victory points. But the trick was you're collecting these cards, and when you have to play the combo that you need to move to the next open space. But if somebody in front of you moves, your goal just changed. They just moved the target on you. So if you were collecting one of each was the next space, and then somebody evacuates a space before that, now it's like, oh wait, I need 4 of a kind. I better change my tactics and start collecting, of a kind. And it's a very simple, like the kind of game you can have a conversation around. I enjoy it for that simplicity. It's very easygoing game. I like the look. I like the vibe of it. But it had some interesting tension in it. Nothing too punishing, but some cool ideas. I really like this one. This is, again, very pleasant. Marco Polo Expedition, my number 10.
All right. Well, let's do our fact. What was
we
the movie that made the most money in 2004?
2004?
I'll give you a hint. It was a sequel.
Oh,
It was something 2. And it's also a sequel that I was like, didn't that come out like 10 years ago? It's an animated sequel.
animated
And it's not Disney.
It's too early for Pixar is Disney, right?
Pixar's Disney.
Madagascar too?
No. I'm a believer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Little dragon
Shrek
donkey
2?
babies.
Shrek 2, 20 years ago.
And it made the most money that year?
It did.
That is a sad year for movies.
You know what made the second most money that year was Spider-Man 2. And not the Marvel cinematic one. This was
You're talking about Tobes, yeah. Tobey Maguire, man.
Tobes.
Tobes.
Yeah. He and I,
recall
when I
him,
ring him up on the telephonic device, I call him Tobes.
All right, back to board games. Let's leave this Knizia love fest, and let's talk
Aw.
about the game that I probably played the second most of all the games that came out this year. There's another game that has beaten it. And in fact, I just played this game at I Started West with some people because it's the easiest card game in the world to pull out and teach, I think, or one of the easiest, and that's No Thanks.
Yes.
No Thanks, just a straight, solid, fun game to teach people. I mean, there's a little bit of like, hey, you don't want cards. And I taught some people, and they're like, a card 16 went out. Someone was like, that's not high, and they took it. I was like, wait a minute. Next person, it was like 12. They're like, okay, I can see where this is going. I'm like, I'm going to win. Because, come on now.
Especially when the other one is already gone. You got to get those runs, right?
Yeah, but it's such an interesting idea of bidding to not get something, which has become ubiquitous with this game.
Yes.
If this bidding ever shows up in something, like it recently showed up in the John DeClaire game,
Empire's End.
Empire's End, I'm like, it's the No Thanks, and everyone's like, got it, if they played this game.
Yes.
This is one that I play a lot with my family. I'm talking about my brothers and sisters and stuff, enjoyed this. So, a lot of fun. No Thanks.
My number 90, my number
90.
9.
You're in the top 100 still.
I'm in the top 100 modes, yeah. My number 9 is, it's a game that looks like a kid's game, and it is very, very simple and silly. This is one called King Up. I think it had a few different names, King Me or something like that, but King Up.
Oh, King Me came out this year, yeah.
Yeah, and this is just a very pleasant little game where there's a bunch of characters on a board, and they can advance. On your turn, you just move one forward. And as you move them into the next area, they're worth additional points. When someone gets to the top, the very top, the 10-point area, I think it is, everyone then votes. Do they want to leave that person in there or kick them out of the game? And so you have a few characters that you want to score. That's secret from everybody else. But depending on where they are on this track here is going to be how many points they each score. There's a yes and a no vote that you can do whenever someone reaches the top, but you only have a fixed limited number of no votes. So if you don't like that one, I don't want this character to be worth 10 points because I don't have them, I could vote no, but everyone does it at the same time, and if multiple people vote no, it only takes a single one for the person not to stay there, but you only have 2 of them. So if like 5 people reveal no, everyone goes, oh man, I didn't have to be the
saved
one.
mine, yeah.
But I've definitely seen everyone reveal yes, and 3 people go, no, I don't want to waste my no. I figured you would.
Right, yeah.
So that's fun.
Very simple game. It's gotten it's been republished with a Super Mario theme.
Yes.
That actually worked
Right.
really well.
That's right.
It apparently has a Dragon Ball Z retheme that came out that year too, and I've never
I
seen
missed
that.
that one. I will not be hunting it down, but get it.
Yeah, it's a cute game. It's not robust or anything, but it is fun. Those moments where everyone votes yes, and like half the people did not want that.
Yeah.
That's a great moment in this game.
God, I haven't thought of this game in a long time, but I remember it being really neat, really fun. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
That could have been my top 15 for the year for sure.
I like it a lot. It's fun.
yeah.
All right, my number 9 is one of my favorite Leo Colavini games. That's not saying a lot. I don't tend to really like Colavini games. But there's a handful, that I do really enjoy, and this is one of them. I like it when he does the you don't know who's who thing. Like clans, he did that in, you're a secret color. And this is the other one that I put in that bucket. It's called Familian Bond. And in it, you are a secret genetic trait. And you want that thing to represent itself through various generations.
I'm a nose.
You are big noses. You are big lips. Big ears.
I love the theme of this so
Yeah,
much.
it's like so
that's
bizarre.
great.
And you want that thing, again, reflected from generation to generation. People marry off, and then you play another card that has some of those traits reflected down the line. You are a secret thing, and the colors match the little pawns there. And so you'll be scoring the red for the lips, the yellow for whatever, but, obviously you're hiding what thing you are. Because you're hoping other people will, benefit you without meaning to. That's it. That's the game. It's a really simple card game. But the weird theme, like Tom is saying, is funny and doesn't really make sense why you are championing particularly big ears, but
The kid comes out
whatever.
with big ears. You're like, yes!
mine! But it's a fun game. It's very, it's a quick-moving, fun game. I'm surprised to this day that this hasn't been reissued with just a more sensible theme that could easily change what these colors represent and come out with this again. It's very approachable. It's like a super easy game to get and understand.
Well, I mean, I think of like Fox Experiment. You could
Yeah.
animals. You can make it animals, and so you want to have
Fox
cool
Experiment is
spotting.
dead to
You
me.
wanna-
I'm doing Human Experiment.
That's biohack.
Yeah, that could work.
Oh, man.
Anyway, no, I think they should reprint this game at some point. Change up the theme, come out with it again. This could work. I think it's a good one. My number 9, Familian Bond.
All right. Fact of 2004. What
Yes.
website got 1 million users in 2004?
Yahoo.
MySpace.
It was MySpace. Now, 2004 was the year Facebook came out,
Yes.
Oh, wow.
and MySpace was king 20 years ago. Did you have a MySpace page?
Yes.
Did you?
I did. I had a banned MySpace page.
Did yours, when you went to it, did music start playing automatically?
I made mine a music profile, so yes.
That's not an excuse. Still terrible. I still hate that to this day.
Yeah, that was
I go to
pretty
someone's
bad.
MySpace page, it's playing music. I'm like, how do I turn off the music?
Oh, you just reminded me that Google once had a social media page. Google.
Was it Google Plus?
Google Plus?
Circles?
Google, yeah, the circles was a thing. It wasn't Google Plus, though, was it? Maybe it was Google Plus.
Someone in the chat.
They had
will
their
know.
own, social media thing. Yeah, and it did not take off. I was hoping it would because I kind of liked it. I guess
G
it was
plus.
Google Plus or G Plus or whatever.
All right. Well, my number 9 is a game that I've championed for a while. And in fact, in a few weeks, we're going to do our top 10 adventure games. And this toyed with being online, even though it doesn't feel like your traditional adventure game because it's real world. But this is Lost Valley. I like Lost Valley. You are a gold miner, a prospector, and you are just going out on this rhombus-filled board. So instead of Carcassonne square tiles, they're rhombus, and you also have triangles that occasionally show up. Triangles are amazing, but you have to make it so that they're forced to be put on the board. And there's a river that's growing, and you can go down the river and mine gold from that, but it's not very good. It's not as good. Or you can go off into the mountains where it's better. But you're also hunting animals, and you're fishing, and you have like real quick actions. Move, do this. Move, do this. And it's very simple, and I really like it.
This was like one of the early sandbox games, you know?
Yeah, it is a
way
sandbox
back in the
game.
This is like sandbox games from the time when it would have been like pixels on a screen kind of feel. And you're like, yeah, technically I'm doing this in the mountains, but...
And this company, I don't think really went anywhere. This game was picked up by Pandasaurus. It was one of the first prints that they did, Pandasaurus, when they were starting out. But I like it because it's so simple and easy to get into. The game doesn't outstay its welcome. So, yeah, I like it a lot. Lost Valley.
Nice.
My number 8 is a crossover already here, and that's with Tom, one of the easiest card games to teach and play, and that's No Thanks. This is one that I enjoy a lot. It's not one of my favorites. There's a few others in this kind of genre, simple card games that really stand out for me, but No Thanks it's a no-brainer.
That's my favorite version.
This is my favorite version here. I think it's the international edition. I've seen it in a few different languages, primarily German, but I've seen like a Spanish language one and a couple
It's also
others.
bigger cards.
Yeah, so this is, if you can't see from the pictures, it's just because you want to avoid cards in this game, all of the illustrations are just bad things happening to this poor guy. And like the number 1 is like he stubbed his toe. Number 30 is like a piano's about to fall on his head, you know, and just keeps getting worse and worse.
I think like one he's on a toilet and there's no toilet paper.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Which is 29 in my opinion, but all right.
No, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the high card is a piano falling on his head. But then the lowest card is him sleeping, dreaming of a piano falling on his head. Like, that's it. Like, it's not that bad. He's just dreaming of this, and the high card is that. It's pretty funny. It's cute.
Yeah, this edition's great. But no matter what, if you just have the cards on, numbers on cards edition, it's a fun game.
Yeah.
But this one stands out for me.
Very nice. All right, my number 8 is one of the Carcassones, one of the best Carcassones, I would say. And this is Carcassonne, the City. This one had a few changes to it that made the game a little bit more robust, a little bit more strategic. It has, of course, all the tile laying. You did not have to match sides in this one, so you could start sort of cutting things off. You also
Wait, what's going on in this picture?
This picture is, definitely legal.
No, but like regular Carcassonne is on the outside of the city.
Yeah, that's how you do it if you're a real gamer. Weird. There's like extra Carcassonne outside.
I need to play that now.
The walls. The rules are on Google Plus. So you're building the whole thing, and then eventually a wall starts to build on the outside. So you will add wall pieces, cut things off. My favorite rule that they added to this one was the little dudes on the wall. That was my favorite thing that this one added, because once you started building the wall, when you put a piece of wall, you could also put one of your meeples on the wall, and he would look across the city. And if you saw like specific buildings, he would get you points for that. It was really like, it's a cool looking one, you know?
Was he like on the wall for the rest of the game?
Yeah, he was on the wall. Yep. He's like a little guard. He looks across. You cannot put a guy facing him on the other side. You know?
Oh, okay.
I like this one a lot. It's one I still have, and just gives me a little more oomph than basic Carcassonne.
This one's not only 2-player, is it?
No, that one's called the Castle. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely, though, the Castle came out before Carcassonne the City, and definitely the Castle, which is by Rainer Knizia.
Hack. Yes.
No, Raid must have cribbed some of the stuff from that. You can see roots of City. You can see stuff from Castle and City, I think.
The no longer matching tiles thing is taken from that. The edging, yeah.
All right.
What final episode aired in 2004 and was the most viewed finale for a long time? I will say I watched it with my wife.
I was going to say this.
Very, very popular. This show is still watched a ton today.
Is it Friends?
It is Friends. Friends' final
Oh.
episode aired in 2004.
The one with we stopped getting paychecks. Yeah.
Now they're still getting paychecks.
Yeah.
They have that in
fair.
their contracts. Friends is
Fair.
the syndicated stuff. I forget what the date was. There was a certain date where I feel bad. Some of these people whose stuff is still watched today get nothing from it.
Oh man.
But I promise you that the Friends people do. Also, so does Jerry Seinfeld, surprisingly. All right, my number 8 is way too low on this list, according to Roy Canada.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, what is it?
It is War of the Ring.
Ah.
I love this game, but I just don't play it enough. And I have to say that it's lower on the list because if you say, "Hey, let's play War of the Ring," I'd be like, I don't know, and then I can't be my number 1 if I feel that way.
Sure,
but it's still
sure.
fantastic. It is. Well, I mean, I haven't played the new Dune one yet, so maybe Dune replaces it. I can only do
You
one
like
of these
this?
games.
You like this better than the War of the Five? What is it? The Five Armies?
Battle of
of
Five
Armies.
I don't know. When I first played Battle 5 Armies, I was like, this is better. It's faster. It's more battle focused, and I thought the fighting was more interesting. But War of the Ring overall, the theme is better. I know all the cool characters.
That's what
in
it is. Maybe the theme. There's more touchstones there. Yeah.
I like this of all these giant games. I think I like this. I think I like this even more than say Star Wars Rebellion, which is also
Okay.
in that same kind of category.
Yeah.
The only negatives about War of the Ring is just the fact that it's hard to see sometimes all the pieces. I wish, I wasn't ever going to shell out the money for the. I mean, now it costs like $3,000
Oh,
or
the
something to
super
find
deluxe
one of
one?
those deluxe ones.
Fancy one. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because that was a big deluxe game before deluxe games were cool. Now
Yes.
so many companies have these super deluxe versions, but that one I never did get. But it's still a fantastic game. If you like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and you don't mind bigger, longer games, you will like this because it is theme first. Yes, Roy said it'd be his number 1. Well, I knew that. So that is my number 8, War of the Ring.
I tend to really enjoy small card games that do something strange, and that's kind of what my number 7 does so well. Is I have not played anything else that's remotely like this, except for the game that this is a sequel of. This one's called Sole Mio from Uwe Rosenberg. This is his follow-up to
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. So much so to the point that the back of the cards in Sole Mio say Mamma Mia on them.
Yeah, you can mix them.
Yeah, so you can
This
mix
was
the games
one of
together.
the OG standalone
standalone
expansions.
Expandalones.
Well, that's better. I thought
Standalones.
I thought there was one that said a back of spiel on the back of the cards, but I might be wrong on that.
I
On
don't
the
know.
initial ones, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But this one's cool. This one is a pizza recipe fulfillment kind of a game where you play cards into the middle pile, and after you've played some ingredients, you can place down one of those. In this case, the green player could play one of those pizza recipe cards. If they think that there's enough pepperonis and mushrooms and stuff underneath it to fulfill what that recipe requires. But if they're wrong, those ingredients will still be there later, and another player on their turn puts down some ingredients, they can put down a pizza recipe as well. And so it's this card counting and estimation type game. It's bizarre, it's weird, it's hard to explain, but once everyone's thrown in for the first round and then you reveal the ingredients and say, okay, this pie came up. Is there enough for it? Yes, you take those out. The pie is made, that player scores a point. At that point, it clicks for everyone. And so it's...
I actually just throw out cards and show people.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, I didn't put this on my list because I like Mamma Mia, and the same game basically to me. But yeah, this is a game I always bring out at cons because I know people haven't played it.
Yeah.
Also, it's...
So you can be like, here's an Uwe Rosenberg
I
game
do,
you haven't
I do
played.
that every time. Like, you want to play a Rosenberg game? Yes. All right.
Damn. This is from before he was abducted.
Yeah, when this and Bonanza
It's the
were the type
prequel
of
to
games that-
Agricola. This is back when he liked food.
Yeah.
There's plenty of food in this game.
Plenty,
Again,
yeah.
almost all his games are about food. I'm sorry.
Would you eat
there's
one of
some
those
trauma
pizzas?
there.
I would die.
Why? What's wrong with it? It's deep dish.
Oh, man.
It's basically just
Looks like
dough.
a floppy hat. Yeah, they don't look good.
I would still eat it. I like
That is a
much.
good. That's a good game. All right, my number 7 is also a little small card game, and it is now a 3-way crossover for No Thanks.
Yeah, no thanks.
Like these guys already said, No Thanks is a wonderful, very easy to understand card game, but it is non-traditional in many, many ways. I love that. I love when a card game gets to be weird, like you were saying, quirky, but I can still teach it to you in like 4 sentences. That's wild. That's very hard to do. And that is one of the reasons I think why this game is still around today, still popular, still does well. Because of that combination. That combination is lightning in a bottle. You can't really do that very frequently.
In some ways, this game feels like it's older than 2004. to me,
Sure.
Because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't, in the hobby game mindset. So when I first saw it, when it was first taught to me, I was like, oh, this must be a game from like the 70s or 80s or something.
Right.
But
It has that timeless feel for sure.
it does, but in the best ways, not like, this is, before we figured things out. No, it's just smooth and great.
Right.
I also love that there's some cards missing from the deck. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting there with the 26 and the 20, the 29. Sorry, it's 26 and 28. And you're like, man, I sure hope that 27's in there.
It better exist.
It better be in there because
Yeah, it better
I'm
be.
banking on that.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
if it comes up, it's a cheer. And then it's a
And
cheer,
then
and then Z goes, I'll take it.
Well, then you also play that mini game where you're like, yeah, I'll let her go around the board one time.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I mean?
When-
It's like, somebody gonna take it? No, I think I'm okay, yeah.
That joy when people first discover that in this game, they're like, I could just take it now. It has 2 chips on it. No one else wants it, though. That's a
Right,
fun moment
right.
of discovery for people.
Yeah, it's fun. Alrighty, where are we at? Number 7. And our fact here is, what major thing that is still used today, in fact, I used it today, tech-wise, came out this year, well, it was announced on April Fool's Day, so people thought it was a joke at first.
Google Plus.
Close. Very close.
Are those Google glasses you're wearing?
Now, Gmail. Gmail was announced on April 1st, 2004.
Really?
Yep.
Wait, it's only that old?
It is. But I'll tell you what, I was, in the beginning, you had to get an invitation. I was like, please, 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 please. Because I just thought Google was the bee's knees. I was like, their email has to be better.
Sure.
And there was also this huge deal back in the day. They're like, don't get Gmail because they have computers that will read your emails. Like, I was like, I don't really care if they read my emails or not.
The current techscape is your fault then. It's solely squarely upon
Did you
your
get
shoulders.
an invite to it?
I did. I eventually got one, and then I was very pleased with it. And I would look and scorn at all the people with Yahoo,
Yeah.
which was,
And Hotmail.
what did I have before that? I had
Hotmail's
Yahoo
pumping,
before
yeah.
that. I still do that. There's a guy at my church who's still using Rocket Juno. And I'm like, come on, man.
Really? They're about to pull the rug out from under him any day. No warning, too. One day he's just gonna go and he's gonna get a 404 error and like, what's happening? They just yanked it. They forgot that website existed.
All right, my number 7
Hotmail.
game is one of the most popular games, and possibly other than War of the Ring, the most critically acclaimed game that came out in this time frame. Still getting expansions. I don't know. Actually, it hasn't had an expansion in a few years, but this is Power Grid. Has Power Grid had an expansion in a few years?
I don't think so. It's been a bit, right? Maybe
A little
at
bit.
the very least I haven't heard of it.
They've had some like weird offshoot things, but like I can't think of the last time.
This is such an anomaly, this game to me, and the reason why is because it's pretty economic. It's a Euro style game, and yet for some reason it has cross borders. And I know people who play Power Grid who wouldn't touch most games of this ilk.
Yep. 100%.
And it has things in it that a lot of people wouldn't like. Like there's straight up auctioning, crazy auctioning. There's a thing that this game does that not many other games do, where basically turn order is I would almost challenge you to pick a game where turn order is more important, because you're buying the stuff in reverse turn order, you're building things, both of them count.
Absolutely, it's huge.
It's
it
such a
affects every
big deal.
phase. Like, oh, the market might be wrecked by the time it's my turn because you bought up all the cheap stuff.
Right.
And oh, my connections got taken because by the time I get to build, you jumped in my way. I mean, it is so important. And there's a
Interesting.
lot of different games. It's like this is the one game that is basically mechanism soup, but doesn't feel that way.
Yeah,
It really
everything
is. It's like-
integrates well.
It's a bunch of like stages that aren't really don't feel like they go in the same game.
But it's also a game I've seen people play with 5 and not blink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of maps for it. It's actually based on a crayon system game, the original game, Fukenschlag, I think it was what it was called. That I've never played, and I don't really have like any desire to go hunt it down and play it. Every once in a while you'll meet someone who goes,
curiosity, right?
it's better. I'm like, I don't know. But Power Grid, I like it a lot.
Number 6. Ching, 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 ching.
Well, number 6 is a classy feeling card game that's it's a classic for a reason, and this is San Juan. San Juan's the sequel to Puerto Rico, and I like this one more than the original game, actually. Just the idea of...
You shan't be the only one on this list saying that, but go ahead.
Gotcha, yeah. No, I love the action follow and lead type mechanism. They lead and follow, I guess. You know, one person chooses one of the actions to do, everyone else gets to do it, but weaker. I find that it just flows so smoothly
Why don't
with
more
this
games
one.
do that? I like that mechanism a lot.
A lot of games do that. Are you kidding me?
Not compared to trick-taking games and roll and rank games and deck-building
placement.
games
I feel like
and worker placement.
a lot of games do you have an action, you pick a thing, everyone does it, but a weaker version.
I haven't seen that in a while.
I feel like I see that a lot. You know what I mean?
Earth is the recent standout that does that. Well, the Earth goes crazy. It lets you like activate your whole everything blue. So like, my version's actually better than the one you chose.
Right.
Which is not the case here in San Juan. This is definitely more straightforward of a game, right? I get to draw 3 cards. You get to draw 1. Ha, right?
Yeah.
Or I can construct up to 2 buildings. You can only do 1. Stuff like that. And it's just, man, it's just so good. I like all the ideas that it takes from Puerto Rico, the best parts of it, kind of distills them down into cards. And as you're building them out, as you're getting resources, selling them off, like it just simplifies it to where you're not worried about lots of things. You're just basically worried about card draw and building. And it's so good. So good. So yeah, I love this one. San Juan.
All right, my number 6 is a crossover with 6, right? Yes, with Tom Vasel. This is Power Grid.
Oh, nice.
The wonderful Power Grid. We already talked about it quite a bit. This is not one I've explored a lot of the alternate maps because it doesn't feel, to me in my head, I'm like, I'm not good enough like for it to matter to me. You know what I mean? But this is one I haven't played in many, many years. It would be nice to get it back to the table. And if I'm in the mood for a crunchy, mathy kind of game, I could see this being the one right now.
One thing I like about Power Grid is you use a certain number of the territories based on the number of players, and I've yet to be in a game group who picked them on any other reason than how well they fit together.
Sure.
You're like, yeah, this one's kind of off the board a bit. It's just easier to look at without that stuff. No one's like, ooh, let's try it without this region. I've never been in a group that's done that.
No, yeah.
Right, yeah. Someone starts in a region, like, okay, well, it's going to be like these 2 or maybe these 2 or something. Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, what was the best-selling toy? And I'm not talking electronic toy, just regular toy.
I don't think I've gotten one of these. It's all been Chris. What is it? Best-selling
So
toy?
this toy does not sell well at all today, as far as I can tell. It was an alternate to Barbie, and a lot of parents were opposed to it. I refused to buy them for my daughters because I'm a jerk. Also, my daughters were like, 5 and 6 or whatever.
Bratz.
Bratz is correct. You got
Yeah!
one. Bratz!
Because I still have all my Bratz dolls. That's what it is.
Those could be worth something. Not a lot, but it could be something.
Something.
I'll trade you a Tickle Me Elmo for 3 Bratz.
Done. Oh my gosh. I'm going to make out like a bandit.
All right, Z crossed over with me with his game. I will cross over with him. And this is Carcassonne, the city.
That's right, baby.
This is the best version of Carcassonne. There's a lot of things I like about it. I really enjoy the walls that surround it, forcing the game to end at some point. When the walls meet, you're putting walls around it. It's going to end it, but it also just closes things down very quickly. Like I put my guy in a road. I put a wall at the end of that road, then he's done. That's off. And so the whole putting people out on the board and they don't come off till the end, like putting people on the walls, doesn't hurt that much because the game isn't that long. This is, if I'm teaching people who've never played Carcassonne before, this is the one I'd bring out.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
because
not me. No, because the sides don't have to match. And that's...
Yeah, but they don't know that.
I'm just saying, it's so much more easy on the mind to be like, line stuff up, go.
City, grass grass.
Oh, I get puzzle. Yeah. But even then, I think I would pick something like maybe Amazonias or one of those smaller themed ones. Star Wars. I'm kidding.
100%. You see, connect the force to the other force. I don't know what it means.
Boba Fett meeple's gonna fight.
Yeah.
I forget what it is.
Yeah,
I know that you're
exactly.
connecting like
R2D2's
star roots.
a farmer now.
I love Carcassonne. It's one of my favorite of the like classic gateway games, and I have not played this one. I've tried the castle, and I didn't love it. I was hoping to like it a little bit more, but I haven't tried the city.
Now, the only negative thing about this game, when it came out in 2004, it was in a wooden box. It was like, ooh, it's cool. And that wooden box got old real quick. You know those ones with the clasps?
Oh, yeah.
They've reprinted it
It's just a regular card.
in a regular box, the one that you can see there. So that's my number 6, Carcassonne City.
My number 5 is the heaviest game on this list, and I'm going to guess the heaviest game on any of our lists. This is Tumbling Dice. I get to use your pitch card joke, Vasel. I love this.
Tumbling Dice isn't even that heavy, so it's a pretty light game, actually.
But none of mine are bigger.
The worst part of Tumbling Dice
than this.
is putting those stupid legs in and setting it up every time, like, wait, come on. Put these pegs in.
Oh, man. So you can play the regular edition like this, right, where you roll D6s down, and whatever they land on is multiplied by whether on the 1, 2, 3, or 4 level. And then you can, the next person goes, they can try to knock yours out. It's just like a lot of those dexterity games, Shuffleboard-esque, and the one that Eric Summerer likes on the ice, the Carabande. Curling, yeah. Curlabande.
Oh.
It's
Curling Bondi, that'd be good.
I would love that.
A bunch of people, they're racing around a track, sweeping in front of the guy.
Yeah, I like
Come
that.
on!
I like that.
But what Tom has done with our library copy, and this has kind of become a bit of a tradition at the Dice Tower Retreat, is that Tom's put a bunch of polyhedral dice in there. So there's D6s and 8s and 20s and 12s, and it's just fun to just kind of have a big group of people circling around the table, all just launching a die, and then doing loads of math at the end.
By the way, that is copyright Dice Tower, the Tumbling Dice Circle. I invented that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's ritualistic at this point. I love it.
It kind of is. I like that. Get a nice bonfire going in the middle, some chanting.
Well, we have broken a tumbling board game on camera
Right,
before.
that's right. We sacrificed it.
But yeah, just even if you just play the regular edition with just the D6s, it's so fun. What a great dexterity game. Tumbling Dice, my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is going to be later on at least one of these lists, probably both, and that is Ticket to Ride.
What? Did that come out in 2004?
Ticket to Ride came out in 2004. It is a rummy-style card game in which you are collecting cards and making connections on the board for victory points and or glory. The end. We'll talk about it later.
You don't know! You don't know that, Garcia!
That's
All right,
my number 5.
let's get back to talking about Chris's game, because that's also my number 5.
Oh, okay. But factoid.
Oh, factoid, you're right.
No,
Sorry.
I don't know factoid. I don't want no factoid. Go ahead.
What was the best-selling song that came out in 2004?
Yeah.
It is.
100%. That's
I
why
figured he would know that.
it was in the intro of the video. Usher's Yeah, featuring Lil
Jon. Yeah.
Lil Jon, yeah.
I wrote that down. Because
What?
apparently you have to say that, right? The singer
guess.
featuring. But the song that started the year out at number 1 and was doing really, really well before Yeah came out was Hey Ya from Outkast with a K.
Yes.
I like that song. I don't know anything else.
Like, that's, hey, I think
Yes.
that song is that old?
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
All right, back to Tumbling Dice. That's my number 5. Yeah, I like this game. And here's the thing. This one, sometimes you guys accuse me, I mean, there's all the polyhedral dice and everything I'm saying because I've upgraded and stuff. I like Tumbling Dice even straight. Just the regular dice, playing it with those, because they're really fun. This is a game I can bring anywhere, and again, people understand it immediately.
Sure.
You know, you're just flicking a die, and trying to keep it on and whatever the number is. It's random. The strategy in it is pretty low. I mean, you can get decent at shots, but I've yet to meet someone who's like good at tumbling dice. You can just have an amazing, I bet people are bad at it, but you can have an amazing shot. You know, it just happens, right? You knock 2 dice off, you hit the black thing, it lands on the 4 and a 6. You're like,
Right.
that's the greatest shot of my life. So, but it's just really fun.
Oh, when you bump out somebody's 6 in the 4-time multiplier, it lands on a 5, and you're like, yes!
Right.
And they can do it right back to you, but it's so fun.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. My number 5.
All right, my number 4. So to clarify, especially with these higher up numbers here, I'm ordering them based on the game from 2004, because a lot of these have had expansions or extra stuff since then, or reissues and stuff. So my number 4 is as is from the rules back then. This is my second Knizia, the last Knizia on this list, a game called Rooster Booster. This is
Which
the
one's
game.
Rooster Booster, Tom?
I'm trying to understand how everything you said beforehand even affected this.
So this was
They've had a lot of expansions to Rooster Booster.
What are we talking about here? I never even heard of this
Rooster
game.
Booster.
This is the game that was re-implemented as Pumafiosi by Bitewing Games.
Okay. Somebody's really putting Pumafiosi on the list.
So this game, so the original version of it have a deck of cards from 1 to 100. In Pumafiosi, they kind of reduced it down to 55 cards.
Of course.
Better choice, and then they tweaked a little bit of it. But it's basically a trick-taking game where where you throw a card out. There's no suits. Once everyone's thrown a card out, the second highest card wins, and then they get put onto this ladder, the pecking order, right? And they can put on whatever space they want. There's spaces that are worth negative points at the bottom, and they become increasingly higher in points as you go up to the top. You place a card somewhere. The next person who wins the trick with the second highest card can either place below or above you, or on your spot. If they have a higher number, they bump you down, and you start taking penalties every time your cards get bumped down. So it's a neat
Like
little
Pumafiosi. Yeah.
yeah. So Pumafiosi is the version.
I think Rooster Booster's a better name.
How dare you?
No, Pumafiosi is hard to say. Rooster Booster, it's easy. Also, it sounds like you're playing, like you want to play Rooster Booster? I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'll be right there. And then when you come out, I see your car going out the driveway.
And I'm holding a chicken.
Did
You play this, or
Well,
had you played it before before
played with the
Pumafiosi?
original rules? Yeah, the 100-card deck and the different
Like
areas.
you mocked it up, you mean?
Yeah.
Got
That's
it.
there. I didn't find a copy of this, but we played it mocked up.
But it was after Pumafiosi?
It was actually before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we were debating. We were looking at Bitewing's first. This was their first Kickstarter.
Right.
So we're like, let's find 100 cards, and then let's grab like Ohanami or something, and kind of like.
I think you don't have to worry about
Try
any
this
crossover on this.
No, I don't think that'll be the case. But no, I really like this game. I think that Pumafiosi did a few things better. They also threw in some one-time use powers and stuff, but I played it straight by the old rules. I still think it's such a neat game.
That's cool. Okay. Nice. All right. Well, here we go. A crossover with Chris. No, it's not. Now, my number 4 is one of my weird ones, too, and I don't think it's going to be on your lists. This is from the Brunos, Bruno Catala and Bruno Faiduti, put out Boomtown in 2004. And Boomtown here is it's a bidding game in which you have characters with special abilities or mines that you are flopping out on the table. Everybody goes around bidding around the table until somebody wins. When you win, you are going to take a card from the center. If it is a mine, you'll sort of arrange that in front of you. If it's a character, you use its power and then it goes away. And then the other players around the table, going clockwise, will take something themselves of what's left. The money you paid, you give to the person on your right, counterclockwise, and they keep half of that, pass the other amount, then that person keeps half of it, passes it, and so on. So the card drafting goes one way, the money goes the other way. If you get the last card, you kept the most money. So it's got that interesting closed system. And then you roll a la Catan, and you see if cards produce money. So you roll 2 dice, and hey, I don't know, 8s came up. Great. Everybody who has a mine card that says 8 in the corner gets an amount of gold, as it says on that card. Some were dangerous. Some would give you like 6 gold on a very common number. But if you roll a 2 or a 12, the thing would implode.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
This is almost card Catan.
It's kind of Card-Ton, yeah.
It's not as bad as
Rooster
Card
Booster
Casino.
Edition.
I like this game a lot. This one has been redone so many times.
They've done it a few times for sure. The version I have now is a different modern
Did Trick or Treat
version.
pick this one up?
No, they
I thought
haven't
they
done
did.
one.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I like this game a lot. It's very rambunctious. It's very in your face. It's French style. It's like, oh, that's yours? No, that's mine now. You know, stuff like that. But
That's weird.
I do enjoy it.
Curious. I like the idea of like the money kind of like fizzling down
Yeah.
around. Like that sounds really cool.
Yeah, these guys were always very good at having interesting mechanisms like that, and then on top of that, throwing some chaos. You know.
Yeah.
And this is that.
All right. In 2004, a new fast food restaurant opened its first store in New York City. It is now all over the place. In fact, there's one in Miami by the Falls Mall. I know that. We don't go to these often. We have often gone to one. There was one outside of PAX that we went to once.
Hacks.
Fast food from 2004.
It's 2 words, and both words start with the same blend.
Jimmy John's. Oh, no. Blend, you said. Wobble.
The Waffle Wows.
Waffle House.
It is Shake Shack.
Shake Shack is from 2004. Okay.
It is.
Shake Shack. Okay, is that the
Mike
one
got
with
it.
the 5-way and I'm trying to.
I honestly think Shake Shack is fairly forgettable.
I can't remember
they
which
have
one
shakes,
Shake
they
Shack
have burgers, they're fine. If I see them and I'm going to go there, I'm like, yeah, why not? But I don't think, but they're very, very popular. The one, if you
Okay.
go up to that one by the falls, have fun. It's always crowded.
I mean, I like burgers and shakes. I'm sure I like it. But
Just hit Fuddruckers on the way up.
oh yeah, Fuddruckers is so good.
I'm
I
trying to
know.
remember
I
if
went
I've
there
ever been
Sunday.
to a Shake Shack. I can't picture it in my head.
We went to one time after PAX. We were all tired, and they were out of half their stuff because all the people came in with, like, there was no chicken, and there was like, come on, guys. All right,
I don't
anyway.
recall that. Okay. Okay, there it is. Steak and Shake is what I'm thinking of. Thank you, Mike. Steak and Shake has been around since the late 1800s.
That's true.
All right. 2004 was definitely 100% the year of Days of Wonder. You mentioned Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
My number 4 is their other game they released that year, which was Memoir
Memoir.
44, which is insane to have 2 games that popular. Either one of them would have blown the gaming community apart, I think, on its own. I mean, Memoir 44 has not had the range that Ticket to Ride has today.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
they are, I think, they're about to re-release it and blah, blah, blah.
20th anniversary
It's
edition,
supposed to be
baby.
like a big, like a lot of the cool
Yeah.
expansion stuff that's been hard to find, I think, is what I've heard.
But this game was really popular because what it did was it let you play with those little green army men
Right.
and really simple rules. And it was the newest version of the Commands and Color system, which I think, actually, let's say the newest. It was the second because the first was Battle Cry. And then they said, hey, I remember I was in Korea and Eric, the president of Days of Wonder, came and he showed me Ticket to Ride at that point. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he's like, he had told me about this, and I was like, I don't care about this train game. Show me he had the miniatures for this in like a suitcase. He had gone to China to get them all. I was like, tanks! Oh! You know, I was so excited. And this game is just so much fun to play, and it's really great to play Overlord 4v4. I like it a lot.
I don't
So
understand. All war games looked like that back in 2004.
I wish. And I remember distinctly a very, very popular and famous RPG publisher was standing with one of his henchmen. I was at the booth, and he was like, these losers. He was talking about the Days of Wonder people as a bunch of losers, like these games are never going to amount to anything. And this man has been sued several times, and his company barely exists now. But hey, good job, Days of Wonder.
Days of Wonder was on top of the world at this point.
So yes, I love Memoir 44, my number 4.
If Days of Wonder had come out with a Knizia game, I don't think gaming would be the same. I don't know. It might have been too much. This might be post-apocalyptic right now.
They could have
and
had
we'd be
Rooster
recording
Booster.
this on a tin can with a wire coming out of it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
That
gonna be
is
investing
not true.
Going to be investing in tin cans after this. My number 3 is a 3-way crossover, I think, already, and that is Power Grid. It was on both your lists already.
Yes.
When I was toying with this, I almost put Rooster Booster above Power Grid. I was debating it. But it would have been Pumafiosi at number 3, is the thing, right? But Power Grid is, it's an amazing game. Everything that we've said about it, it's strangely a lot. There's a lot of rules to it. There's a lot of phases to it. Teaching it, people are like, what? Turn order is positive in this direction and negative in the other? Like, sure is. Mm-hmm. And then once you get into it, people are very intentional about how, like, okay, well, I have enough money to build like 5 more connections, but I'm not going to because I don't want to be in the front. It does that great job of always pushing towards the end, and yet people are still a little bit cautious because being too far in the front for too long in the game, you're getting hosed with the markets.
Right.
My favorite map, I've only played a few of the different maps, but my favorite one is the Korea Peninsula.
100%.
And I think it's the most obvious, like, what are the subtle differences between the maps? The Korea one has 2 markets. You can buy from North or South Korea.
Yeah, I really like that.
And it's great because, yeah, sometimes one will have a good that's like ridiculously cheap. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to change my power plants right now to just take advantage of that, and it's worth it. But the North doesn't have nuclear, as a funny, like, But, man, I like that one a lot. Yeah, power
And
grid.
if you think Euro games don't have interaction, then this is one for you to play because it's interactive
Oh,
all the way
yeah,
down.
yeah.
I will be saying bad things about you from the beginning of the game to the end.
Is that a promise?
I would do that in the co-op game. But anyway.
Okay.
All right.
My number 3 is the only game I can think of in which Tom literally punched me in the face. No, that's happened a lot more. No, my number 3 is a 2-player card game from another line of games that I think was doing really, really well at the time. That's the Cosmos 2-player line of games. This is Jambo at number 3. Jambo, Rudiger Dorn.
Oh, I knew this would be on your list. This is in my top 20, but
This is very good. It's a 2-player, talking of economic games, it's a 2-player economic game in which you are managing these little gold pips and you are you're buying goods for hopefully a low amount, of discarding cards to do that, and then selling combinations of goods for a profit. You have to draw the right card. On top of that, another thing you guys were just talking about was, meme games, how Euro games were mean. This game, man, it's in your face.
it doesn't bother me because it's 2 players.
Sure, but I think it's funny to say that, Euro games like this used to have no teeth. I'm like, no, the opposite is true.
Oh, yeah.
I think Euro games used to be meaner.
Yes, 100%.
I think they're a lot softer and kinder now, but this game is, if you don't like confrontation, you want to play with a significant other or a friend, and they don't like confrontation, this ain't it. This is mean. Like, you're drawing cards, you'd be like, hey, crocodile. And hey, I'm stealing your thing, or I'm swapping one of my resources for one of yours, messing up your combinations. But it's engaging. You have a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of manipulation, a lot of interest. I love this. This is one of my early loves of cards with powers, which is absolutely one of my favorite things. This is one of those early games which, reminded me of like, oh my goodness, it's amazing that they can do all the stuff they're doing with cards, which I'm used to in my head be like 5 of clubs. That's all that cards can do, right? No, they can do so much. You write a couple blurbs on there and the world is your oyster, Jambo's like that. I really like this one.
I almost went out of my way to try to play this before this list. I was just like, I just don't have time reasonably to do that. But this is one that's always interested me.
Yeah, it's its own beast a little bit. It's an interesting game.
Yeah. And there's also Asante, the sequel thing, but if you're going to get just one, I would get Jambo.
Really?
Well, you know why? It's dumb, but I like those little extra story houses. They're in Jambo. They're not in Asante.
That's true.
And I like those. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I like having more space to put stuff. I'm like, oh,
Sure.
yeah, that's cool. All right, fact. This is an easy one. What 2 competing game systems were released this year?
2004?
Yep, one of them crushed the other one.
What came out in 2004? It
For
was after the N64 because that was like 01.
that was 90.
or 98 or something, right? I mean, like,
So it was usually 3 years between systems,
so
right?
I'm guessing like Dreamcast
It was
and like GameCube or something?
was this the Wii and the PS3?
Okay, you guys are thinking of bigger systems. These are smaller systems.
The Game
Commands
Boy
and Colors
Color
versus-
Advance.
Okay, DS
Destroyed the
and
PSP.
PSP.
That's right. The DS and the Nintendo DS and the PSP
and
came
the
out.
PlayStation Portable.
For some
crushed it.
reason, DS crushed. And I remember when these came out, I got the DS, and I remember thinking, the PSP just seems better. It just
seemed
seemed
cooler.
better and
Like, it was
cooler.
way
It was,
cooler
it was
looking.
cooler. It was like the, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC.
Absolutely, yes.
I don't get how. I mean, well, Nintendo just knows, and that touch screen
Yeah.
was like, woo!
Yeah.
You could touch the screen. It was such a cool thing.
When the PSP had those proprietary discs that were really dorky, like, again, in a cool way, they were like, our tech is just more slick. They had a
Yeah.
little disc inside of a plastic case that was kind of triangular. It's like, what is this? What?
Yeah, that I'm sure that didn't help. I don't know if other people wanted to work with them for that, but like the PSP was also touted as like an MP3 player because that was more rare
Right,
at that time,
right.
and so it was a little bit more of like the tech bro kind of a thing, and Nintendo was like just video games.
I played the DS a ton.
So
Right.
there were
Traveling, it was
multiple-
great.
Multiple Zelda games came out on it that I enjoyed, and Mario.
I also
games.
liked that there was the 2 screens. Sometimes that mattered. I would play that those Tactics War game
Tactic
type
War
things.
or whatever. Yeah.
All right, back to games. My game here is one that's not going to be on many people's top 100, top 10 list from this year, but it was very popular. It was from a small little company that now is the biggest company on earth, or one of the biggest companies, Asmodee. They were just a small publishing company. This game is actually being reprinted, maybe this year or next year. It's from Christopher Bollinger, and this is Dungeon Twister. Dungeon Twister is a fantastic game, and if you're watching this and you're like, I don't really like fantasy, you still might like this game. This is very chess-like, Dungeon Twister. You have a team of people that have been thrown into this dungeon by some evil magician who's bored. He's lived for thousands of years, so he just drops people in and you fight each other. And you are moving around and trying to get points. Your points are taking out someone on the opposing team, so it's 5v5, so it's easy to take someone, I mean, there's not that many people, or get one of your people to the other line. And each person has a special ability, one special ability, but you can pick up items, and that's the only randomness in the game. There's items that are randomly distributed around the board, and then the boards themselves, but you can rotate the boards and do things, and you need to kind of outthink the other person. You play a card in your turn that gives you 2 to 5 actions, but once you play that card, you can't play it again until you've played all your cards. So you have a certain number of actions, and it's a really enjoyable game. But it's very thinky, and I know they're reprinting it. They're reprinting the first expansion, Paladins and Dragons, I think, and then the 3 to 4 player expansion, which is okay. I like it best at 2. But
They had a card game version of this that came out.
card game version wasn't bad, and they also came out with Dungeon Twister 2. It was
That's
called
right.
Dungeon Twister Prison, I
It's
think.
like such a huge box. Remember that?
That's because they had minis.
Yeah.
It was stand-ups.
insane.
I would put good money on the fact that the new one's going to have minis. Okay, come on. This is 2024 now.
This is kind of like an early version of Wildlands a little bit.
Yes, that's
Really?
probably the closest thing I would compare it to.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's just so interesting because you kind of go into it like, it's dungeon crawl. It's not a dungeon crawl.
No, it's
It's a back and forth tactical game.
It's very thinky. It's kind of an abstract almost with powers.
Right, but I mean, someone might take 2 hits to take him out. Or this
Right.
guy can move faster than other people. This guy can move through a wall once per turn, which is a big deal. There's all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced I would actually like this one, but
I don't know. I'm not saying you would or not, but I think you could try it. But you're kind of an Omni gamer. You might like it.
maybe, yeah. I mean, I enjoy Wildlands, but I like the co-op version way more. So I don't know. Not sure about this one.
Dungeon Twister.
deferring back to a very earlier, very intelligent thing that I said about, I'm kind of rating these as like the base product that was out in 2004.
Here we go, Rooster Booster again.
My number 2 is Ticket to Ride. I love Ticket to Ride, but I partly love it as much as I do because of all the stuff that's come out since then.
Yeah.
Legacy game, expansions, Pennsylvania map, UK map, like that. All that extra stuff has elevated it. Now the basic game is fantastic. The basic game is super fun. I remember I had played a few of the other kind of gateway games that people tend to play, or the welcoming games like the Carcassonne and Catan and stuff. Playing Ticket to Ride, I thought, this is good. It doesn't seem like I didn't quite understand why it was kind of this revered in the upper echelon of games. But just the more that I played it, I realized just how exciting it is to draw new tickets. Just how exciting it is to feel like I only have a few trains left. Can I do all of the stuff that I want to do? Do I just start going for like big routes to make those points? There's so many great decisions that make this game so teachable, so smooth, and it's popular for a reason. Yeah, so yeah, Ticket to Ride, my number 2.
Do they print this now with big cards, or do they still print it with small cards?
I don't know.
If anybody has bought one recently, do you get the normal sized cards in it, or is it still like little tiny cards?
I know it was small cards at least 5 years ago. There were still small cards because I was under the impression.
That's why I suspect it still is. I'm just curious if they ever did change it. Anyway, let us know. My number 2 is a crossover with Chris. Already mentioned it a while ago, and this is San Juan. I love San Juan. It's one of...
Ooh, I thought this was your number 1.
No, that one's a piece of crap. San Juan, like Chris said, it's one of those, I pick something, I do it, you follow with a slightly weaker version of the thing I did. Lots of combos, lots of neat buildings to collect. It does not by in any way outstay its welcome. You get to 12 cards and the thing's over. It's very quick. There's a few different kind of ways you can go. I enjoy this one. Yeah, the theme's a little bland. It's, it is of its time, but the gameplay and this idea of paying for a card you are building by discarding other cards still excites me if it shows up in a game today. I love that mechanism.
Yes.
There's a few things that do it, but it's another one of those somewhat underutilized ideas that I really, really enjoy. I'm like, oh, fantastic. Love it. Immediately, I'm like, ooh, the hand management is going to be neat. And it often is. So,
Right.
yeah, my number 2, San Juan.
All right, well, that is not a three-way crossover. In 2004, something was released on DVD for the first time and made $100 million on day 1 of its release. People have been waiting for this to be released for a long time. It had come out much earlier than 2004.
Titanic?
No? No.
That's funny. That was going to be my first guess.
More popular
too.
than Titanic.
Impossible, okay?
Jackie Chan's First Strike.
Even more popular than
No.
Siege 2.
It was
Dark
three
Territory.
things together.
The Lord of the Rings
Star
trilogy.
Wars.
Star Wars. The
yes!
Star Wars trilogy was released on DVD and made
Oh.
$100 million day 1.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. I
Bunch of
remember
nerds.
I remember people talking about this. You're like, yes, finally.
Okay.
DVD, that will last forever.
I remember there was, so it came in that collector's box that had the silver decoration or the gold decoration.
I do remember
for
that.
Darth Vader on it. For widescreen or full screen.
That's crazy. I know. I'm so glad that has gone away. 'Cause that was a big thing. You'd have to go to Circuit City. That's right, Circuit City. And
on your
you
way to
thi-
Comp USA.
And yeah, it had or if it was like a VHS, had the big bar at the top that said widescreen. You know what I mean? And that one seemed like the weird one. If you were getting that one, you were like, oh, look at this snooty jerk.
Did it bother you to watch widescreen with those black bars at the top?
Probably back then. I don't remember. It was one of those things.
I
But,
remember thinking, ooh, it's a movie.
but just now, if you put something on TV, like I was rewatching a little bit of the X-Men animated series.
Yeah.
The original one?
Yeah, you put that on and you have the big black bars on the side. Like anything now that comes in the square, I'm like, wow, TVs were that square?
Yes, I know.
It's like almost square.
The
It's just barely wider than it is tall.
probably in the similar year, this time frame, but Justice League, the animated series, was in full screen, was in the square. Justice League Unlimited, like basically season 3 and 4, was widescreen.
That's funny.
And it's funny to switch between the two series and be like, oh man, I used to live like this, like a peon.
What about when they would take the widescreen movies and they didn't do any effort? They just cut off the edges.
I know.
And you're like, wait, did something happen? Who's talking?
Well, they did two things. They would either crop it, and that's all you got was whatever was in the middle, or they would do that tracking like that, the tracking technology.
The pan and scan.
Yeah, pan and scan. That's it. It would move within the widescreen. That was tech, baby, okay?
All right. My number 2 game is being re-released this year, 20th anniversary.
Finally.
And I am getting more excited about it. The company is sending me way too many advertisements about each character in this, but it's been a while, but I'm ready to bring this back and play it at the table, and that is HeroScape. HeroScape, let's bring it back. I still remember the very first time I bought HeroScape. I bought it. I was opening up on the table. My wife came in the room. She's like, I thought you said you were done with miniature games. Like, well, this is actually a board game, you know, because it comes in this box. Yes,
That's a good excuse.
Yeah, because it didn't take up a lot of room for me at all. We still have a good chunk of the Dice Tower Studios that has HeroScape in there.
Bins of this stuff. You still have bins of this stuff,
I do.
Right? Yeah.
But man, what a cool game! A cool theme of. I love anachronistic fighting stuff like this a lot. So, very entertaining game, and also really simple. And I'm pleased to see that Renegade seems to be keeping that straightforward. It's simple, you know, run around, roll some dice, and it's also backwards compatible, which is a good move on their part, which is also going to make the prices for HeroScape stuff that's old so very high. Because they're going to introduce a new generation, and they're going to be like, there's also other stuff. What? How much? Oh!
Yeah, going back, yeah.
Have fun with that. But anyway, that's my number 2, HeroScape.
Oh, wow.
The fact that you didn't have this game on your list concerns me, because I did find one when I was like making the short list. I was like, wait, when I double checked, it was from 2005.
Okay, well, someone mentioned a game in a comment that I clearly missed. So if this is your number 1, then it's my number 3, actually. I missed.
St. Petersburg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shame on me.
Yeah, really?
I just missed it. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Yeah, so
It's
this
embarrassing.
is...
You're embarrassing me.
I'm off the channel.
The collective... Devote yourself. The collective hold of Ticket to Ride is higher for me than St. Petersburg, but just base game to base game, man, St. Petersburg is amazing despite the way it looks in both editions.
But wait, they reprint it.
The one where you're a promo card. Oh, the first time I played St. Petersburg was the 10th anniversary edition of this.
Right.
And it was in Tim's Cafe, right? Tim, who runs Dice Tower West. And he had like the Tom Lehman promo card. He had a U promo card in there. So in this game, you're building up this big tableau of you're just pure engine building. Your engine is either getting you money or getting you points, and has a great round structure to it where you need to kind of make your money last. And at some point, I just kept looking down at my tableau and being like, I can't keep looking at the weird painting of Tom Vasel staring at me. So like,
Fair enough. No argument there.
so I like started putting other cards on top. I was like, ugh. Like none of the art's great in the 10th anniversary edition, but like the real
You're particularly
people.
his.
I have an out.
What is it?
The out is I would not put this version in my top 10. I would only put the new one.
Really?
Because the new one adds that
the market
the
expansion
market,
on the
and I
side.
think that completes the game. I will not play it without that market expansion.
I love just the basic as is.
Because
Suspect.
in the original game, the aristocrats are too powerful, and the only way to get money is, I mean, through the green cards mostly. I think they balance it better in that new edition. Now, what they need to do is make a brand new edition. Awakened Realms, come on, make me a St. Peter's. Make me a
and
St.
every
Petersburg.
card is a miniature.
But they also, the other funny thing about this game is, who's the designer of this game?
Peter Hoffer.
It's that
It's like a
pseudonym, right?
conglomerate of like 3 people, and they made up a weird name.
It's Jay Tumbleson was
Yeah,
one.
and then a couple of
Bern Hoff, the guy was in charge of the company.
Yeah.
And then one other person. It's pretty
and they
funny.
made up a fake name, one name. Yep.
Is it the same people, the same fake designer name as like Stone Age? Is it like
They
another
did one other one.
Yeah,
it might have been Stone Age, yeah.
This is Stone Age.
Yeah, anyway, St. Petersburg, phenomenal.
All right, my number one, somebody said it in the comments a little bit ago. I started with a Knizia. I'm ending with a Knizia. Blue Moon.
Mike would be so proud of you right now.
Thank you. Hi, Mike. Yeah, Blue Moon is awesome. I love it. It's a 2-player dueling game where you pick a faction, one of these peoples, they're called, and you fight. And in the box, you had 2 factions only, but they sold many little decks of cards that you would add on to this. This original version had the large format cards, so tarot-sized, with lots of room for the artwork, some really nice iconography. Yeah, this is a game I've played, I mean, a ridiculous amount of, and I still very much enjoy it. It's a pleasant game for me at this point. It's kind of, I feel like playing a trading card game, but I don't want my brain to feel like it's playing a trading card game. Then I'll play this. Blue Moon. They reprinted as Blue Moon Legends, kind of all in one box, Ticket to Ride size box. But I still very much have a soft spot for the original here with the large format and the look of it.
All right. Before I get to my number one, I want to just tell you all, if you like our channel, you like watching our stuff, also check out, we have a sister channel called Dice Tower Encore. A lot of times on this channel, we do a bunch of short reviews, like a short review roundup. Well, there on that channel, they're separated out one by one. So you can watch we just put up one video there a day, one short review. So if that's all you want to see, just one little game. Check it out. It's Dice Tower Encore.
That was founded in 2004.
No.
Oh.
What's your final fact?
Final fact
Is it about the Spice Girls?
No, there was a Spice Girls pack that did not put in here. No, the most popular video game that was released in this year, still played consistently to this day, and will probably still be around in 20 more years.
World of Warcraft.
That is correct.
That's the one.
You were on, man.
Yes.
World of Warcraft came out 20 years ago, and people are still playing it with video games that's almost non-existent.
It's unheard of.
To be playing games consistently. But this game, is there even another massive multiplayer online game that is bigger than World of Warcraft? There might be, I don't know.
No.
Bigger, no.
And I'm not including the
Dogecoin.
no, what's the game where you fight the other person?
MOBAs?
Dota, yeah,
MOBAs,
yeah.
whatever, yeah.
I'm not
those
including
are-
them.
That's not multi. That's not.
It's not
what?
the same genre.
Yes. Yeah.
The
I mean-
second biggest is what?
EverQuest? Is that still
Like
around?
currently. Probably the Elder Scrolls Online might be the second biggest right now.
I don't even know. That's a good top 10. Let's look up sometime.
Yeah,
maybe.
but no, this is number one.
Yeah. Oh, someone saying Final Fantasy is bigger? Maybe.
Final Fantasy 14.
Oof, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So,
No, you're wrong.
Colonel Sanders. All right. My number one, yes, a 3-way crossover. The obviousness obvious is Ticket to Ride. And this is the game that Knizia probably shakes his fist at every once in a while
I
because
bet.
he had the Spiel des Jahres sealed with that ingenious game. It was going to be his. And then Ticket to Ride came out. Like, man, any other year, Genius would have won the ticket, the Spiel for sure. And he hadn't won it yet at this point.
Right.
Actually, he didn't win it for a bit. What'd they give it to him for?
Wow.
Keltis?
Keltis, I think.
Yeah, and that was I still
Keltis was
still
definitely
insisted that was a gift.
It's Knizia! Give it to him! Yeah.
He deserves it. But Ticket to Ride, I do remember the first time he pulled this out, like I said, he was showing Memoir 44, and I'm like, I don't want to see this train game. And then we played it, and I thought, that's really interesting. That whole idea of the cards, and I took it, he let me have the game, a prototype game, which I wouldn't touch these days, but back then I was like, woo, prototype.
That's
So I took it back
amazing.
and played it with my wife, and she loved it, and our friends, and I was like, this is going to be a hit. I was very excited about this one. Not to hear about it, because it didn't sound that amazing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's really taken off, and I still play it. Another thing that helped, I don't know if it was in 2004 or 2005, but they released a way to play this online. It was pretty soon after this came out.
Yeah. Very
And
slick.
it was really slick, and I don't know if you were playing board games online back in 2004, but you mostly had Brett Spielt or whatever.
Belt, yeah.
And they were terrible all around. And this one was slick and worked well. And then when they did release the app for it later on, that was also phenomenal.
Yeah.
I have that app saved on my phone because I guess it's not publicly available anymore.
That's correct. They've redone it. It's a new one, and I've heard nothing good about. At least I have heard that the new one's not as good as the other one was, which is
Yeah.
sad.
It's one of those that like,
Really?
I might hold on to this phone for the rest of my life then, because I love that Ticket to Ride app.
You're going to be like in your 80s. Give me my Ticket to Ride phone. Like, Dad, we don't even have a thing that charges this. How does this even work?
Oh man, yeah. Days of Wonder around this time, definitely. I was buying into their mission statement. I remember hard around this time. This idea of these games feel nostalgic, like that was their again, their idea. Their mission statement was these games are made to feel like an heirloom thing, but right out of the box with the look, the quality of the pieces. This was not commonplace yet. Now, a Days of Wonder game looks like every other game.
It does,
Around this time, they didn't. They felt like you had just purchased a luxury item. This was like the new car smell in board games kind of thing.
I remember being able to put the scoring piece in the plastic tray, and you were like, whoa.
I know, yeah. Just
I'm
something
telling you.
little like that. Or, I mean, you compare it to the way that most of the other games on my list looked.
Yeah.
Right? Like, clearly, Days of Wonder games stood head and shoulders above.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have that prototype Ticket to Ride anymore. I don't remember what happened to it. I had it for a while. It was in a Pirates Cove box.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the Ticket to Ride stuff pasted
Yeah.
on the side of it. But
That's
the rest of it
cool.
was pretty much almost production copy or whatever. So,
That's nice.
all right. Well, there you go, folks. That's our best from 2004, 20 years ago. Let us know in the comments what your favorite games were, or you can talk about other things in 2004, and we can all lament together how old we are, unless, of course, you're 20, in which case you don't know about anything we're talking about.
You whippersnapper!
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Come back later this afternoon in a few hours at, what time is it, 1 or 2?
At 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock, so less than 2 hours. We'll have a continuation of the Top 100 with Roy and Jason and Wendy. I think it's 40 to 31.
Yep.
We're getting closer to those top 10. Some amazing games will probably be mentioned, hopefully.
Or else.
Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Chris Yee.
Have fun. Back in time. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.